Hi, Vancouver Opera. My name is Luka Kawabata, and I am here today with my friend Amanda Testini, who is a director extraordinaire and an alumnus of our Yulanda M Faris Young Artists Program with Vancouver Opera. And me and Amanda were in the Young Artist Program together, so obviously we're friends, we've known each other, but this is an opportunity for us to chat, talk about things that have recently happened, things going on in our careers, in our life, and things that are upcoming, and just catch up. Thanks so much for being here, Amanda.
Oh, thanks for inviting me to chat, Luka. Happy to be here.
Mhm.
And
So,
happy to see you and that glorious face of yours.
same to you always. Um, I know that you're from Vancouver. And I'm curious about
Mhm.
your perspective as a someone who grew up here. What your favorite areas of the city are?
Okay, I'm a little biased, but I'm an extreme lover of East Vancouver Commercial Drive area. I feel like it's the most boho part of the city. Um, I have gotten a chance to work on there's this project here in Vancouver called the East Van Panto, and I've been choreographing it over the last 6 years, and it is one of my most favorite projects, and it's like a love letter to East Vancouver. It's a new musical every Christmas, and yeah, I last year I heard something, I think online watching a video or something about sidewalk culture,
Mm.
and so that started me reading books about city planning.
Mm.
And something that I love about East Vancouver is the sidewalk culture that exists. My friend Christine Quintana, who's a playwright who also lives on Commercial Drive, she describes living on excuse me, Commercial Drive as being like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. You're like walking down the street and you're like, good morning, Belle, good morning. You see a lot of people that you know. There's a lot of like a lot of my friends live in the same neighborhood, so there's a lot of drop by culture to each other's houses and stuff. So yeah, that is why East Vancouver is my favorite my
Uh,
favorite part of the city.
So it's because of the sense of community and the kind of day-to-day feeling that you're part of something greater. I know that East Van has a
Yeah.
lot of local festivals, or kind of there's a bit more of an event culture on that side of the city. Do you have any favorite festivals or events that you frequent throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, gotta shout out Italian Days
Mhm.
on the drive. That's always fun. There's a lot of like vendors around and stuff like that. Car Free Day is another one where again just everybody's out on the street. Uh, so it feels really fun and alive.
Mhm.
Um, and other than that, like there's always like some music going on somewhere, it feels like either in a brewery or in a park or on a street corner. So I'm sure that there are more like official festivals, but the ones that again like Car Free Days and like Italian Days on the Drive. But I would say that, you know, in terms of music and stuff, the ones that pop up in my head most frequently are like the ones that are just happening day to day, the less official
Oh, exactly.
events, if you will.
Yeah. And I think anyone visiting
Yeah. What
Vancouver.
about you? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. Well, I think anything including music is always a favorite. I was walking around today, and I've been away from Vancouver for a hot minute, and to see the amount of new murals that have gone up that are not just in East Van, but kind of seeping throughout the city and giving the city some more color and more personality. That's one of my favorite things. Um, so
Oh
you
my
are
gosh.
you are a director, but you are also a performer, and you have a hand kind of in a million projects at all times. You're a dancer, you're a choreographer. What was your dream job as a child?
That's a good question. Okay, when I was in grade 2, we had this project where you had where you picked 3 jobs essentially. You like drew a picture on these 3 rectangles, and I wrote an artist. Like I had it was like me with like a little beret and
Mm-hmm.
like some paint,
What
and then a
all artists
teacher,
look like?
and then a singer. So
Mm-hmm.
wait, say that again. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay, so I feel like I'm always like talking over you
Sorry.
and stuff. Sorry, what did you say?
I was just making a comment saying that's what all artists look like. Beret in hand, very Marcello from Bohem.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so funny. Yeah. And so I think back to that and I'm like, oh, I kind of have gotten to do that. Like have to do all of those. I don't sing quite as much as I used to, which is just fine. I'm not a visual artist by any means, but I do feel like you said, because I do I haven't picked a lane. I do a multitude of things that I feel like that encompasses that. And then yeah, I often teach, and so I feel like I've really gotten to do what make little Amanda proud.
Mm, I love that. In the world of opera, you work predominantly as a director, but if you weren't a director, what position in the creative team or the production side of things would you love to step into in your dream world?
Really good question. In my dream world, okay, perfect dream world. So I'm not going to do the cop out thing and be like choreographer, because I do that too. But I would say, oh, that's really hard. Like okay, I'm gonna do two alternative universes. So there's one of like the stage managers. I think I have so much it would be so stimulating for my brain, because they have to know exactly what's going on and they have to be so detail oriented. And also the calling, like the calling stage manager, that's a bit of a performance unto itself, and that's they have to have so much artistry in their calling of the show. And like they are like the main orchestrator, you know what I mean, like turning on the light for maestro and calling people to be waiting in the wings backstage. And you've heard me say this before, Luka, but like Teresa sang at Vancouver Opera, watching her like cue people singers on stage is also one of my favorite things to watch. She's so beautiful when she does it, like just her gestures. So it'd be fun to do that. And if I somehow in a perfect world grew talent in this way, which I don't have very much of, is lighting design. I think lighting design is so cool, but I know so little about the nuances of it, so that would be a fun one too.
Well, probably part of your job as a director is to have a perspective on everyone's jobs and collaborate with them, knowing that they are experts in their craft, and then you kind of get to coordinate everything and bring everything to life. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's totally true. It's it's so fun to collaborate with different designers, and also to like you said, dip a toe into their world. Something that I'm working on that is something that kind of holds me back is, because I don't want to call myself a control freak, but because I really like to be involved and know what's going on everywhere, I have trouble asking for things that I wouldn't know how to create. So that's something that I'm working on, to just be like, I want it to feel like this or whatever, and me not totally know exactly what the lighting designer would do to get us there, or what the costume designer would do to get us there, but then to let them like fill in that gap with their own interpretation of that like feeling or direction.
Yeah. So you recently got back from a residency with the Glimmerglass Festival in New York. How has your experience there kind of added on to the development that you had as a young artist at Vancouver Opera?
Yeah, I mean, going to Glimmerglass was so fun. It's a massive festival. For those viewing who don't know about the festival, there's a main stage and then there's a pavilion stage. And on that main stage, there are 5 productions all on that one stage. So the rehearsal process is really different. It's instead of it being 2 weeks of rehearsal and then a week of tech and then you open, it's rotating so that so that the shows can open one after the other. So, the first show will rehearse for a week, and then the next week they'll go into tech. While that show is teching, the next show will will start rehearsing, and then that show that just teched will go back into rehearsal and then go back into tech. So it's this really wild revolving schedule. So I think that being at Vancouver Opera, it's a huge venue. Mm-hmm. So that taught me a lot, to be at a big venue, and being at Glimmerglass gave me a little bit more capacity, because there's so much going on all the time. I was on 2 main stage shows. There were 13 performances of Bohème, 3 of the other show that I worked on. A lot of people got injured and and stuff like that. So I was rehearsing people in and out of the show. So it was really busy. So I feel like it broadened my capacity and solidified my capacity. Also, the difference between I was down there as an assistant director, and so the paperwork is a little bit different down in the States versus Canada. I had the privilege of working with Brenna Corner on HMS Pinafore up here in Vancouver, and she started prepping me for what the paperwork would be like down in the States, which was nice. So I feel like I got a bit of a sneak peek, which prepped me to be down there. So yeah, so I would say I feel like I've like solidified my capacity holding for what I could handle.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel more like lit up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel inspired. I feel like I got a heavy dose of inspiration.
I love that. It sounds like you got kind of a extended masterclass in developing your scheduling and multitasking skills as well.
Yeah. Yes, totally.
How do you balance life as a artist with day-to-day life?
Mm-hmm. So my experience of balance, instead of thinking of it like this or something where everything's balanced all the time, I swing through it. I swing to extremes. Mm-hmm. So I will, like, if I'm working, especially on an opera, the opera hours are require more of me than when I work in theater. It's just, opera is bigger, faster, and it's just a lot faster. So when I'm working on an opera, I will just swing into just working. So I don't really have any balance. I'll try to make sure that I move my body every day, because I try to think that I sweat for myself first, and then I sweat for everybody else around me, but when I swing into those modes, like, I eat the same thing over and over again, and I don't really see a lot of people, and I don't really think about much else. Like, it's always what I'm thinking about. And then in like one of the weeks that I'm in now that you're catching me is like almost all free time. So, I'm doing a little bit of my own life admin, but I'm seeing a lot of friends, and I'm going to the beach and swimming, and I'm, cooking a new meal. So I would say that my balance is in the pendulum swings, and I like it. It's fun.
You're in your self-care side of the pendulum right now. So you are...
Yeah, I am. I'm in the
You're getting ready to assistant direct on the upcoming production of The Magic Flute with Vancouver Opera. And I am curious as to your preparation process for that, as well as any other projects that you have upcoming.
Yes. So I go into my prep week next week. Of course, this isn't like, we're not just starting at ground zero. There's been many emails being sent back and forth, and I've been watching the archival because this is a previously staged production. So my prep week will look like making a scene breakdown, which is, every scene and musical number and recit in the piece, and then seeing exactly where everybody is, either on and or off stage. Then after that, I will Ashley, the director, will send me a first draft of her scheduling, and I'll just go through it with that scene breakdown and like add anything or flag anything that might not work, and then I'll work that with the stage management team. I'll probably watch the archival a bunch more times, so I really have a handle on the production, and also me and Ashley will probably, take different parts of it. She knows that we've worked together, where I've been her choreographer on a show, and there's some dance in this piece, so I'll probably learn that so I can be helpful in that regard. And then and then getting my book ready, of course. This year I started moving to digital finally, so
Wow.
yes. So I'll get my digital score all prepared with my little mini maquette, which is just like a mini ground plan of the set with some space, and I'll have that book the way I like it, so that we can have everything documented, what goes on in the rehearsal room. And yeah, what else am I doing after this? I'm also doing a little bit of prep for, I mentioned the East Van Panto. This year is East Van Panto Beauty and the Beast. So I'm starting to go through that script and get my brain rolling on the choreography concepts for that. And the other project that I'll be working on this fall is I'm a dancer in a contemporary dance show called Agrimony. We've been developing the show over the last couple of years. We did a residency at the National Ballet of Canada last December, and we had another building session for the show in the spring, and so now this will be another building developing the show, and then it'll debut in Toronto in the spring of 24, and then eventually in Vancouver in the fall of 24. So I gotta get really strong for that. Gotta get really fit.
That gives us some things to look forward to in our long-term theater schedules as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there are plenty of opportunities for people to see your work coming up in Vancouver and to check out you in your different roles as an artist as well. I'd like to thank you again, Amanda, for chatting with us. It's nice to catch up, see where our alumni are in their life after the Yulanda M Faris Young Artists Program, and to see your face as always. I'm sure that we'll see each other throughout the season, and looking forward to chatting soon.